We're about to start. We're about to start. Okay, there's the red dot that I need for the recording. Hello, honeys and hunks. We got a new episode coming this week off of another week, but like I said, we have posted last week. Blame me. I'm the person that messed it up. But this week we are back. We are back better than ever. So just before we dive into today, don't forget to follow us on social media. We got Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Hardcourt Honeys, and at Twitter at HC Honeys. Then we got Jade with auxiliary things. Shay watches NBA. Then we're gonna wrap with TJ Rebound. Once again, guys, gotta follow me on Twitter before I start doing more things. Because if I'm just doing it to like follow back stuff, like I ain't gonna be putting my thoughts on there.
That is not how it works.
Yes,
Twitter
it is.
is not
how
going
Twitter
to
works.
change for you.
No, people got to come to me. People got to come to me. I only come for the people. The people got to come to me. But so since during the pause, how has everything been for you, Jade?
It's been an interesting few months. Things have settled down considerably. Yeah, it's been an interesting time.
But at least things are winding down. Shay, how's been the past few weeks, a little time since we've seen each other? Jeez.
You good?
No, yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens, folks, when you take too much time off. You sound like Porky Pig.
Porky Pig.
Yeah. So how's your time been, Shay?
I've been fine. I just work and then I come home and I fall asleep on the couch every night watching basketball. So can't complain, I guess.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you're able to watch basketball too. So,
yeah.
All right. So diving into this week's episode, we're going to talk about Philly thriving. We got the Nets dropping real low. Boston making me proud. And NOLA's got New Orleans highs and lows right now. Got the Zion issues. They got CJ McCollum, which seems to be like a bright spot for them. But so I think we'll just dive right into, okay, Philly thriving. We got the duo that is now Joel Embiid and James Harden. That is probably the worst duo that could have been thought up by any of us. It sounds like a straight troll. But so, Jade, so first up, when you saw the trade actually pulled off, what was your general sense of it? Like, what was your first initial thought?
Honestly, this whole time, I've just felt so bad for Ben Simmons that I'm like, good for Ben, getting out of there, standing his ground, not making himself look like a jerk in the process, which Philadelphia did time and time again, and Embiid specifically. I was so annoyed last week when I read that he said about how much he chased Ben Simmons around and he was just tired of it. I'm like, you were on video saying some very different things more than one time.
Let's go back to the tweets. That's all I got to say.
Right.
And it's so hard for me to enjoy how well he's playing because I dislike him so much as a human being.
Yeah. Shay, how has it been thinking that these two troll of players are on one team now? Does it actually make it easier to despise those players since now they're also on a team that neither of us really like, with a coach neither of us are a fan of?
There's no complications in our feelings about this.
No, why would I watch a Philly game now unless there's like a specific team I want to watch playing Philly? It's not like beforehand I would watch Philly because I'm like, sure, I don't love Embiid as a human. He's a good player. Now, I don't want to watch Philly. That's fine. They can do as good as they want. I don't want to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, but now you have the MVP candidate with Embiid. So he's actually been playing a lot better since James Harden has arrived. Jade, are you surprised with that since how ball heavy James Harden is and also how ball heavy Joel Embiid is?
No, because I think James Harden made that adjustment already. We talked about this way back in the day when we had Jason Jackson on one of our early shows. Oh. And he agreed with me that if James Harden was ever really going to contend for a ring, he had a limited amount of time left to change what he was doing. And going into Brooklyn, he finally did it. And so I think that has made it easier, because that was a big question for me, is like, and it still might not work out. They still might not get along right now.
Right.
They're in the honeymoon. Everything's going well.
Oh, yep.
There's no guarantee that this is what it's going to be forever. No question, it's been impressive. But, until a team goes through a rough patch together, it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Yeah. So with that, how do you think Doc is going to be handling these personality shake? Because even though he's had issues with like winning playoff games, he has done a solid job at handling multiple big personalities over his career coaching. Do you think this is going to be any easier, or is this going to be a challenge?
Listen, Doc will trade his own son. So I think he has the talent to deal with anything. I mean, a guy who will trade his own son, who will play with Paul George.
He wasn't the general manager.
Still.
You're as cold as ice.
I'm just saying, like, those decisions are not in the hands of the person whose title is not general manager.
Still. Since my husband has food poisoning, I think I have to get my delivery food. So hold on.
All right. So going back, Jade and I will continue more about this Embiid situation.
I will be back.
There's always an Embiid situation, it seems like.
With Harden being here, is that actually going to even push his numbers better towards this MVP candidate season that he's been having?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about the whole MVP conversation. I have a tweet. I have a tweet that I think sums up my thoughts fairly clearly. This is from my favorite numbers account on Twitter, StatMuse. These are the leaders of all of these stats as of, I think this tweet is from yesterday. A lot of the buzz around Embiid, I think, is circumstantial. There's always a story in the media about what's going on in Philly ever since the whole Ben Simmons thing started at the end of last season. If you want to look at just numbers, Jokic is the MVP, and it's not close. Jokic is doing it without his number 2 guy, without his number 3 guy, with Aaron Gordon and a bunch of dudes, as Patrick said earlier when we were talking about it.
Will the Thrill Barton, baby. Will the Thrill Barton.
Okay, so like...
Oh, no, yeah, I know it. Embiid
has had the better team. He's missed more games to injury, I believe. Even if I wasn't pretty sure on it, if I had to bet, I would bet that Embiid missed more games than Jokic, because historically that's accurate. Jokic is doing it in the Western Conference, which, it's harder there, with less help, and still leading most of these numbers, basic stats, advanced stats, advanced play, like every stat they can think of. Jokic has got like 85% of all of them.
Yeah. I mean, when you put out the basic numbers with it, basic and the deep analytic ones that I still don't ever really understand, I just roll with it. I'm
going to retweet this for anybody who wants to take a closer look there.
Joker does it probably when it comes to those candidates, probably the quietest out of all of them. Because I know he's putting up the MVP stuff, yet I never hear about it.
Nobody's talking about it.
No one's
He's
talking
having a historically best NBA season of all time. And we can talk about is Embiid and the Philly drama.
I think one reason because Joker's not that big of a personality. And also, they're 6th seed in the West. That is, I think, something that's holding him back.
Well, what's their record?
Because
once again, to be at the top of the West is a lot harder than to be at the top of the East.
Timberwolves are 36-29, and I think they're 37-26. or something like that, or the 37 and 28. So they're only
I'll go back to Jokic is still missing his 2 and 3.
Oh no, yeah. Jamal Murray is coming back right towards the end of the season. I don't know how well Michael Porter Jr. is going to be though.
Yeah, when they said that he's supposed to be coming back around the same time, or like they announced it in the same headline, I was like, okay.
It's the same back injury pretty much as before.
Yep.
And back injuries, I don't know about you guys, but the back takes up a majority of my body. I don't know about you guys, but my back takes up a lot of my body. So if I hurt myself with it, it's gonna be some serious ramifications. Well, speaking of that trade that we witnessed with James Harden, the other player involved with Ben Simmons now going to Brooklyn, yet to play. And right now Brooklyn has fallen very hard. Over the last 20 games, they've been 3 for 17. So, Shay, you have been living in this Brooklyn area. Has the die down for people saying like they're gonna win it all gone down a little bit, or are people still arrogant enough to being like, no, we got this.
I still see people who are like, no, we're gonna get it. We're the future champions, like stuff like that, especially all over social media. Yeah.
The future champions from 2014, like that's what that team was built for.
Well, or the future champions like in like 5 to 10 years, like maybe
when none of them play.
But I don't think they're 5. I don't think they're 5 years away. They're not this season away.
No. No, like they'll bounce back definitely. But this is embarrassing. This was a team that was gonna be going deep in the playoffs. And even regardless, don't they still have Kevin Durant, Jade?
Yeah, he just got back from injury. He's been injured for weeks.
Oh, that's right.
He's only played 2 games. That's why they lost all those games. Kevin
Durant
lost
so many
on my bench. It's been hurting me in our fantasy league because I drafted him with my first pick.
That is unfortunate.
He was in the MVP conversation until he got hurt. He was right there. Like, that is a big piece for a team to lose. You've traded away Harden. Kyrie Irving can only play outside of New York and not in Toronto, which
you traded for James Harden and then traded James Harden away.
And then traded. Well, James Harden forced his way out, obviously. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But like, even apparently, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but up here with, Raptors-centric NBA coverage, apparently there was concern from Harden that what if we have to play Toronto in the playoffs and Kyrie can't play any of those games?
It's true.
That is a very valid point with things.
That's the whole, it's not even half the series. It's the whole series.
What seed are the Raptors right now?
They're not very good right now. Like, I don't think it's going to be an issue now. At the time, they've dropped a bunch of games. They're 12 right now. Gotcha. But they're pretty much exactly where I expected them to be. I've kind of been on Raptors Twitter, been a little surprised if people are like, oh, the front office needs to like end the 6-9 experiment, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, we just had a top 5 lottery pick. We are supposed to not be great. We are not, like, nobody's hiding the fact that we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And see, your guys' rebuilding is borderline just more retooling.
Yeah.
It's
like for what we know as fans, and especially the person that tweeted this will remain nameless, but like, he's part of the NBA media community.
Stephen A. Smith.
No. Stephen A. Smith doesn't talk about the Raptors unless they're in the finals.
And even then, he tries to at all costs switch it to the Lakers. You'll be like, LeBron, Pascal Siakam. Be like, you don't know his name.
You don't know.
You had to be trained on how to say his name before you came back from commercial break.
So it's been a rough season, but I said to you guys when we talked about the beginning of the season, it was not going to be an easy season. to be a Raptors fan, and it has not been. But there's been some bright spots, like Scotty Barnes has been awesome. He's so much fun to watch.
I was
He's
about to say, Scotty.
he's going to be really good in the next few years, and he's excited to be in Toronto. This is what we need.
You always want players that are excited. Man, check that out. We were talking about Brooklyn free fall, and we ended back with Toronto. Surprise, surprise. There.
Well, we were supposed to talk about our team, so I figured out.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. We can finish that. We can do that. I forgot to. Yeah, we were going to do that. We'll do that at the end before we do the fast break. I feel bad for Steve Nash, first year coaching, and he deals with this. Shay, do you have some sympathy towards empathy towards Steve Nash, or it's like that's what you came into?
No, I do, but at the same time, I do remember us talking about, can Steve Nash, like Nash baby, come on, is that going to be the guy that can?
Do you remember why we were talking about that? I forgot all about this. We were talking about that because Kyrie Irving had said, we're not going to have a head coach.
Right.
That's why we ended up having that conversation. Like, what has he got himself into?
Like, because the personalities there, like, all together, incredible. And even with James Harden gone, he left with his personality showing. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So I do feel for him because I think he bit off more than he can chew. But at the same time, he's learning. Like, he's a coach. Like, I don't think they're going to fire him or anything.
I don't think they're going to fire him either. They're not far enough away from irrelevancy. I also I feel bad for him a little bit, but I also feel like you knew this was the bed you were making a little bit. Like you had to. You can't follow basketball. Like, we follow basketball and we knew what this was. There was no way Steve Nash didn't know. You know, and I'm sure it ended up being different in reality than in theory. But like,
it was the 2K lineup.
You know,
it was the 2K lineup right there. Which, all right, even though Brooklyn and free for all, secret pickup, Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Philly is gonna miss Seth Curry immensely.
Yeah.
So much. They're gonna miss him so much. On that note, but still keeping in the Atlantic Division. This division right now is just bouncing around everywhere. Knicks are falling, Brooklyn's falling, Philly's thriving, and now Boston turning heads right now. For me especially, I thought they'd fizzled out. I thought Brown, Tatum ain't gonna work. They got to refigure things out. Wrong.
Well, they did without getting rid of anybody, I guess.
Yep.
And you guys know about the tweet, right? Ever since the tweet.
What tweet?
You guys don't know about the tweet?
What tweet?
Jaylen Brown. Was it Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart? One of them put out a tweet that said there's going to be a shift. And they're like 13-2 since then.
I think it was Smart.
Was it
I think
Smart?
it was
Yeah,
Smart. I think you're right.
And that was interesting to me because one of the criticisms I'd always had of Boston was who's in charge? Who's the leader? Who is the team leader? We know who the scoring leader is going to be. It's Tatum, but like I've always questioned, is Tatum going to be the guy that is kind of the more locker room leader, the sets the tone for the team? And I never thought Tatum was that guy. And it seems like they found some kind of way that Tatum can be the leader on the floor, and Smart is more like, for lack of a better word, kind of like the team's spiritual leader.
Right.
Oh, he's the heart of the team.
He's the heart.
But that doesn't always work, right? Like, there have been other teams where if they had just been okay to divide those responsibilities, they might wanted to be the team leader too. You know, those things happen. And it seemed like Boston was just kind of lost. Like, they had all this talent and nothing to show for it. And like, this is either the best or the second best. I can't remember what the stat was. I saw in-season turnaround in NBA history.
And they're fun to watch. I think that's another thing. It's a fun team to watch, which, Anthony told me we were watching, I think, the Brooklyn Brooklyn Boston game on Sunday, and he did again. Yeah, no, I was whew, whew. And Tatum scored 51 points. Like it was a game. But Anthony thinks that they're going to be a dark horse in this final, or in the playoffs. I think they could be.
Robert Williams III has learned so much from Al Horford. I swear, that is the defensive anchor. Speaking of, I was going to say, Jade, like, how do you see, or how important is Robert Williams III to this team, especially to this turnaround? They have one of the best defenses, and he's the anchor for it all.
Yeah, I don't get to see a lot of Boston games, unfortunately, so I can't really, it's just not a team I get a lot of up here. So I'm really just going by numbers and highlights and stuff, and they don't track defensive stuff that way, so it's really hard for me to, without getting to see the games. I was gonna say,
what you were gonna say.
While Shay was talking about dark horses in the playoffs, I was reminded last week that no one's talking about Miami, and Miami kind of has all the pieces to be right there. Bam is back; he's looking really good. Mm-hmm. Jimmy, I guess, has been in and out with injuries, and some Miami fans are over him. But I really like Jimmy, and I'm not watching the game, so I will maintain my current opinion. But they are sitting at the top of the conference, and again, nobody's talking about them because they're just quietly taking care of business. There's no drama to talk about. There's no incredible turnaround like the Celtics have. They're just doing what they're doing, and I think they're in a really good position, having gone to the finals with most of the core that they still have there, adding some finals experience in Kyle Lowry. His role is at least 50% has nothing to do with what he's doing on the court and any team he's ever been on. Mm-hmm. So you can't underestimate that. And Miami is one of those cultures, those organizations in the NBA that just kind of puts their heads down and goes.
Tyler Hero is also a front runner, shoe-in pretty much for sixth man of the year.
For sixth man, yeah.
He's pretty much a shoe-in for it. So now my curiosity is, okay, does he stick with Miami, or does he try to go get a bigger bag somewhere?
I mean, at that age, you're pretty much always going to go try and get a bigger bag.
You're going to go find that. We're going to find that bag.
You get injured at any time, right?
Yep. Well, speaking of youngsters getting injured, New Orleans, I don't know what's going on with them. They're getting some real great highs, like getting McCollum. He's been doing great for them. But then going down to, is Zion even going to play for them again? Which, Shay, just straight, will Zion ever play for the Pelicans again? Will we see him in a Pels jersey?
Part of me wants to say no, just because he's such a liability as well. I don't know. I feel like anytime he has been able to play a game, the next game he's out. So I don't know. That's all I can say.
Because I know from the get-go, his parents especially, and he didn't officially announce it, but they wanted him to go to New York. They wanted him to be a Knicks, which honestly, I'm glad he did. I don't think that
even ever matters anymore. I'm going to answer your previous questions. So, yeah, we're going to see him in a Pels uniform again because he's been cleared for basketball activities as of yesterday or the day before. But if you were to tell me that in 5 years, Zion Williamson will be remember that first overall pick story who no longer plays basketball, I would not be surprised if that's what happens. I've said all along that his body was not going to hold up to basketball well. He already had to have surgery at 19, and most people said to me, well, he's young. I'm like, yeah, 19-year-old athletes aren't supposed to have surgery.
No.
People who have long careers don't have surgeries when they're still teenagers. That's not a thing in professional sports, especially basketball. Basketball's hard on the knees. and the joints, which is where he has all his problems. His body is not built for basketball. His body was built to play football.
Right.
Well, I just say because I was
Especially
thinking
not modern basketball. Like,
well, I thought, okay, because I've seen a lot of, well, the Embiid, he barely played his first 3 years in the league. But the thing is with him, it was because of his footwork. He was such a large body and his feet couldn't keep up with him at the time. His feet can keep up with him. Zion's athleticism does not match, and it won't be. He's been getting the highlights since high school. Shay, do you see this ending well for New Orleans, or is this more likely a move on situation already?
I think it's
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
move on.
I think it's a move on situation. I just, like Jade said, it's hard because like he is such a fantastic player, but I think it was already in jeopardy from the beginning.
It was a bigger risk than anybody wanted to admit it was.
Right.
Because it was getting rid of Anthony Davis. And it was for that first overall pick.
I mean, they got rid of Anthony Davis and got somebody who's injured even more often.
Right.
Think about that for a second. More often injured than Anthony Davis.
Who is currently out because he's injured, but he did play some this season. So
I want to point out the players that were somewhat kind of involved the Anthony Davis blow up.
There's a lot of talent.
Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Josh Hart coming off the bench. They are missing so many players. I know I'm missing one more player with that, but they got a finals team right there.
Yeah, and they've just been a little bit patient.
Exactly, but that is the curse of being with the Lakers.
Well, the other thing is that would they have developed the same had they been,
that's true.
You know, like I'm starting to feel like, yes,
D'Lo.
There we go.
I'm starting to feel like some of the younger players it's not so much a privilege to play on a LeBron James team as it is a shadow to play under.
Mm-hmm.
But high note for them, CJ McCollum has been
great.
A shot of life towards that team. Jade, does this kind of raise CJ's stock instead of being just Damian Lillard's wingman? This kind of bump him up a little bit?
It doesn't really to me because I always thought they were pretty much the same dude with Damian having a little more clutch gene. Like I said that when they signed McCollum to that extension, I'm like, I don't get this. They're pretty much the same guy. They do the same thing. And one of them, if they're going to play together, one of them is going to be less effective.
Yeah.
And I think it's obvious to me now that I think it's obvious at the time that the person that's going to get less touches was going to be CJ McCollum if you had to pick him between him and Dame. But I think playing together, even though I guess if you count playoff appearances, it sort of kind of worked if that's your measure of success. But like Portland didn't have what it took to get all the way. And to me, it was partially because they weren't a well-rounded enough squad with CJ and Damian starting together. So I think now that he is on a team that apparently seems to have a little something going for it. He's unquestionably the guy on the Pelicans. There's no question whose team it's going to be with CJ McCollum there,
right,
playing the way that he has. So to me, I think for me, his stock is the same because this is what I always thought he was capable of. Just you don't get to do that when you play behind Damian Lillard.
Well, speaking on that LA team that's right around knocking on Los Angeles. New Orleans might actually hop them to get into that 10th playoff play-in position. So, Shay, looking at the beginning of the season, did you see this big of a fall apart as it's been?
Not this big. I also didn't expect Anthony Davis to be this injured. I expected him to
Why?
have some injuries. I just expected him to play a little, like a game more. I don't know. Like I just expected him to be like one game more. But it's fine. I've watched a lot of Laker games because they have so many prime time spots, like Saturday night, like games. So
Charles Barkley refuses to watch any Knicks or Lakers game anymore for the rest of the season.
That is,
I don't
I mean,
blame
I get it.
him.
I
Like
don't
unless they're good.
like, yeah. Why should you? And I mean, there has been a couple of times that the Lakers have pulled it out, and I'm kind of proud because whatever. But I do think that overall, the whole thing that is happening with Russell Westbrook, and I'm not saying that he's not struggling, but I do think that he is the scapegoat for the entire Lakers team.
For sure.
And so people are like, oh, just get rid of Westbrook, and that'll solve everything. That's not going to solve everything. You have other issues, coaching issues, and then there's the issues where they were saying that it was the front office who was asking for Russ to come out when he did. So even though they were up at the time, Russ was playing good. There was pressure from the front office to pull Russ out. So what does that do to a player who has been struggling all season, who is playing good in the first quarter? You're going to mess up his entire rhythm for the game. Like that doesn't even make sense. So there's a lot of things going on here. I want to shout out Austin Reeves, OU grad. He's been the reason I have enjoyed the Lakers games.
He's got one of the best memes of the year.
Best memes. I've never seen someone jump when the ball is not even and jump so often when the ball's not even being passed, but he's like ready for it. He's just like just immediately like this all the time. So like, you know what? There's some silver lining here. And since I'm not getting my Thunder games, not like those are really great anyway, because like all the starters are out right now. Watching the Lakers is kind of like watching the Thunder rebuild. It's fine.
The Lakers. We should talk about the Lakers talent that they moved just this off season. Kyle Kuzma was having a good season. Caruso was having a great season before he got injured.
His injury, yep.
And I said, this was another conversation, because always, whatever team LeBron's on at the beginning of the season, all the NBA talking heads are, they're finals favorites. They're finals favorites. Always. I was like, no, they're not. No, they're not. I said, LeBron might win another title. It won't be this year, and it won't be with this roster.
Have you guys seen the theories that him and Bronny are going to come to OKC with Giddey?
No.
There are theories out there.
I don't know.
What kind of gymnastic basketball theories did you have to do to get to that one?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this coming up. I don't see how whoever drafts his son, how Adam Silver can just let him go play there.
Right. They're going to have to play against each other.
Think that, I don't feel like Adam Silver can just let that happen. I know it's unprecedented and it's not likely to ever happen again, probably. But, for the sake of principle.
Right.
You can't draft Bronny and have get a LeBron James card free.
Pretty much, that's what Bronny is. No matter where, like he was saying, where.
I don't think that can be allowed to stand. I'm really curious.
Bronny's got to end up in Orlando.
Orlando
or Sacramento. I want him to go to NBA purgatory.
Really, the way things stand right now, let's say he declares not this season, but next season's draft. It's a good chance those are one of the teams that get this pick.
Yeah.
Think about the Kings. They finally get rid of their playoff.
They get the King.
Playoff. They're going to get the title. That's what's going to happen. He's going to bring the title to Sacramento, and he's go out on top. I hate that I'm saying it, but that's what's going to happen. Kings are going to get the king, and they're going to have the lion cub that takes over from there once the king gets his ring.
You heard it here first.
I just
March
broke it.
8th,
End of
2022.
episode. I just
it.
broke it all. I just broke it
Cut.
all. I broke it all down. But speaking, Shay, of Russell Westbrook, I'm going to swing this part over to Jade, though, because the bias is just oozing out of that right now. Is there like some blame to put on Westbrook's shoulders? Because he hasn't really changed how he plays.
No, I think when a player is struggling, there's blame to go in a lot of different places most of the time. I don't think I think very rarely is it ever just the player. I think the organization has responsibility. Like, it's your job to win. It's your job to figure out what Russell Westbrook needs out of his life as a Laker to make him an asset to you. And the Lakers aren't strong on that. And I see that, I think, a little differently, because in the Raptors organization, when there have been players struggling, notably Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet, they both got their first starts while they were struggling. Because the coaching and the organization wanted them to know, we believe in you. So it doesn't matter that you're having a shitty however many games it had been. You're going to start this game. And it turned them both around. It got them out of their slump. They both had great first starting games. And like, different organizations approach things like this differently. I think the Lakers are not approaching the Westbrook situation well. Obviously, they're not. Otherwise, they would have fixed it.
But wouldn't the Norman Powell, Freddie VanVleet situation be a little bit different with Westbrook, considering this is an MVP player?
Right.
He's been a leader his entire career.
No, you're not wrong about that. I'm just thinking about like their, let's bench him.
They're cutting him too quickly when he can't fix it.
Right. And it doesn't and I guess a lot of this, if it's happening, is happening behind closed doors. But like, your team is your 15-man roster is part of a bigger team for a reason. And that team is supposed to support the roster's winning. And that means every player needs to get whatever it is they need. And I think historically, because it's, I don't know, obviously because it's male dominated, it's just been like, well, just, get through it. Just suck it up. Like, that's not what everybody needs.
Mm-hmm.
And what an individual needs to perform at their best varies from person to person. There's no one blanket fix for things like that. And, maybe we're going to find out down the road that he's really going through some stuff that he's opted to keep private. He's never been a super, you see clips of him here and there, but he's never been super sherry about his personal life.
Personal life, no. Yeah.
So like, we don't know what's going on. Obviously, people inside the Lakers organization presumably know more than we do, but I think whenever a player is struggling, I don't think it's ever just the player. There's responsibility to the player. There's responsibilities in a lot of other places, coaching, organization, teammates. Like, this team has been thrown together again. There's nobody there that they've played together for a long time. There's no solidity. LeBron and AD are the guys. I saw a stat the other day that LeBron's played with 3 rosters worth of teammates almost in the last 3 years.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he gets the older players to sign the veteran minimum contracts, and then they expect, well, I'm with LeBron. LeBron, in my entire career, has always been to the finals. So if I'm on with LeBron,
I'm good.
I'm going to get to the finals. That's not the case anymore.
No, LeBron's 37
That's not
years
the case
old,
anymore.
37.
So they have also said Westbrook and them have already been like, this isn't going to happen. Shay, where do you see him fit?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this actually a lot, and in my head, he's gonna have to make some adjustments in the way he plays because the NBA is changing, and until he makes those changes, I don't know where he will fit. Just because we are in such a different NBA than when he started out, and that kind of aggressive to the rim. I just, that's not what it is anymore. And
It's a shooting league.
It's a shooting, exactly. It's a shooting league, and his shot is not there. His 3-point is not there. His mid range is not there.
That pull up bank shot that he used to love.
Right.
Bank
It's
shot.
even that is not, like, he's just not able to put the points up that even he used to be. I don't really understand why. I don't but it's just not quite the same. And so I think he's going to have to make some adjustments, and I think he is going to end up being an asset still, because he's going to have that veteran status, that he's a great leader and all of that. So, but it's hard to say where.
I don't know where either. I think if things don't turn around, I was talking about Sabonis today, and I just feel so bad for him, because Sabonis is an NBA Siberia, and he deserves so much better than where he is right now. I could see possibly feeling that way about Westbrook next season, because we know he's better than this, whatever's going on. We know historically, he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. Maybe not first ballot.
Oh, he's straight up first ballot. He's straight up first ballot.
If he doesn't get a ring?
Oh, he's straight up first ballot. 3 straight seasons of averaging a triple double.
The triple double.
First ballot.
Sure.
First ballot. What's your census for a Hall of Famer?
I'm saying no, but that's my point, is that he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's going to be on a team next season or the season after. That's just like, this is, we know
he's not going to get.
We know he deserves better than this.
He's not going to get a ring.
He can come back to OKC and get a ring at OKC like he was meant to at the beginning.
I see him going to the Knicks just because they need someone to bring in people. And regardless on how Westbrook is, it's a name.
With this season, the way that it's been, I don't think they ignore that completely.
It's a name, and we know how James Dolan is.
True.
It's a name. That's all he cares about. It's a name, and it's an exciting name to hear floating around. Okay, so I think we poked that bear too much. I'm tired of it. It's going to bite back, and it's going to be a real pain. So this quick part, oh my God, my stand. While I'm trying to fix this up, this is a segment where we talk about how our teams are doing right now. Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Adjusted. All right. So you mentioned a little bit, Jade, about how you're feeling with your Raptors right now. How are you, like overall, what's your feeling towards it? Do you think playoffs going on, or
no? I didn't expect. They're exactly, like I said earlier. They're exactly where I thought they would be this season. We're rebuilding. We've had 2 starters out for weeks. We've had a lot of injuries throughout the season. I wouldn't have been like. They could have a worse record now, and I wouldn't have been surprised. They've done better than I expected them to. I didn't really expect them to be in playoff contention at any point in the season, and they were for, a few minutes there. So it is what it is. We're, things are looking up. Scotty Barnes is playing well. The people that we expect to play well are playing well when they're not hurt. Next season's another season. Oh, and we're, again, the only team in the NBA that had to play any of our games without fans.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Which nobody else in the league is dealing with. Thank you very much. We are back to having fans now. We had fans at the very beginning of the season. Fortunately, I got to a game before everything got shut down again. But we were at no fans and 50% capacity up to a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think that could also change many things around. You guys could slide into that play-in position real easily.
I mean, the energy, all the players have been talking about it ever since the pandemic, that the energy of the fans is a big deal.
Oh, 100%.
And everybody else in the league has had it all season except us.
Mm-hmm. Shay, you're OKC.
I just saw a headline that Lou Dort is out for the season.
I saw that. I was going to
What
bring that
happened
up
to
at the
him?
beginning, but I saw the
I
update on
didn't-
Bleacher Report, and I was like,
I didn't see that he was out for the season. He had a surgery, so he'll be recovering. But yeah, so right now, Lou Dort, Derek Favors, Josh Giddey, Ty Jerome, Mike Muscala, and Jeremiah Robinson Earl are all out, and Isaiah Roby is questionable. Therefore, I'm like, I don't know who's playing.
Derek Favors, he's not going to play for the rest of the season. He's not going to be on your roster next year.
No, Derek
He's not gonna be
Favors,
there.
and then Mike Muscala is also out for the rest of the season. So
That's a Minnesota boy right there. I think it's from Robbinsdale, Minnesota.
I like Moose.
Yeah, I'm not completely proud. It's Muscala coming out of there, just like it was like Chris Humphreys, like whoopsies.
Well, whatever. I like Moose. So yeah, no, I don't think we really have a team at the moment. SGA is back, but if he doesn't have a team to play with,
that's true. Okay, so breaking report: Ben Simmons to file grievances against the 76ers within the next few days.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Where did you see that?
I just got the Bleacher Report update.
the Bleacher Report.
Yeah, I got the notification.
Wow.
I saw it, and it was literally right after we ended talking about Philly, and I was like, "Well, perfect." But so I want to throw out my Timberwolves right now.
Do it.
Hot damn! Last night we had such a good win that during the game, the wave actually happened. That hasn't happened even when we went to the playoffs. Like
I can't
4
remember the
seasons
last
ago.
time I've seen that at a basketball game.
At a bat.
Oh, and then next thing you know, there's Kat and Pat Beverly. You see them joining in on the wave with the fans. And then in the middle of the game, here's Patrick Beverly with a t-shirt cannon launching it out to the fans because we were up by 30 at that point. It was amazing to see all this. It's been one hell. Kat just won Player of the Week this week.
Yeah,
We're on a 5-game winning streak. We play against your Oklahoma City tomorrow night, Shay. So that's going to go to a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah.
One thing that we are doing that we haven't really done before is when we have a lead, we keep it. And then also we don't play down to the teams that we should quote unquote be beating. We don't do that. Right from the All-Star break, we beat Grizzlies. I think it was the Bucks and Golden State, like right away, right out of the break. So I want Nuggets need to move up to that 5th seed, and whoever's that 5th, no, we're play in.
Yeah.
There's too many good teams in front of us. We're gonna get like 40 some wins, and we're still gonna be like, who knows? Like
it's a tough road in the West. I do not envy that.
I do say that if we get to the playoffs, I think that our coach should be top 3 candidate for coach of the year. Not saying that he should win it, just because of that. But this is a team that
I don't see why not. I don't think there are any other teams who overperformed in terms of where they were expected to be at the beginning of the season.
This is his first full year coaching.
Exactly. That's why I'm thinking like it's his
first
first
Boston
year.
should have been good. Philly should be good. Utah, Phoenix, all those teams above that point are where they're supposed to be.
Once he got to the NBA, where he started out, Jade?
You were asking me, so it must be Toronto.
Under Nick Nurse.
Ooh.
They used to be friends before, and also Chris Finch, before coming to the NBA, already has 20 years of coaching experience, which the coach before him was Ryan Saunders. It's almost as old as Ryan was. So, but no, it's been so great. I've been able to actually watch a lot of the games because Nasty Nate, who not chiming in today, said he would. A little disappointed, but yeah, we always have a Wings game with it. But okay, so got to enjoy our little bit of team, a little information with it all. And now we go to the good old fast break where I have 3 questions that Shay and Jade have no knowledge of, and I want their response as soon as they could give it to me. So first of all, I'm going to do a cut, start, bench kind of thing.
Okay.
We got Giannis, Joker, Embiid. Jade? You first.
I'm gonna cut Embiid. I'm gonna bench Giannis. I'm gonna start Joker.
Shay.
Oh, I'm gonna cut Embiid, but I'm gonna switch those two. Start Giannis, bench Joker.
Because I saw this and I was just like, okay, let's have 3 MVP worthy big men. Yeah, Embiid hasn't won one, but he's candidate worthy, so I'm gonna throw him in with that one.
I guess.
Okay, and so a weird stat I found.
Oh no, not
about
these.
it's about the Brooklyn Nets, and it's about their draft placement and the number of years total with it. So, for example, Kyrie Irving being the number 1 overall pick, and then Kevin Durant being the 2nd overall. That's 3. So, on that starting lineup, how many with Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin, and LaMarcus Aldridge? What is the total in draft pick?
I don't know. I don't remember these things.
It's less than 10. I'll give you a heads up with that.
Okay, so Ben was first. We're gonna have to work together on this one. There's no way.
I'll let you double team with this one. I'll let you figure this one out.
Was it?
So Ben went first overall, so that's 1.
Blake was. I don't
High.
remember. It was.
5th?
I want to say it was. I want to say 3rd.
Third
So
sounds like a thing. So that'd be 4.
4.
You said Kyrie was 3. I think that's what he said earlier.
No, 1.
Kyrie was
Kyrie was
1.
1.
So
That's
that
5.
makes
It's less than 10.
Aldridge went. I know Aldridge didn't go first because I think the Knicks had the first one. They could have picked him and didn't. So maybe Aldridge went 2nd.
I will say 2.
And was the last person? Oh, Kevin Durant.
1, right?
I should know this, but I have no idea.
I want to say 8. 8 was my original guess.
Okay.
I'll go with 8.
It is 8. So Kyrie, number 1. Durant, number 2, right behind Greg Oden. Simmons, number 1. Griffin, number 1. Aldridge, number 2.
So we got Aldridge and Griffin wrong by the right number.
By the right amount. Yes, we rock.
I'll take it.
Yep. Okay. Well, and then so looking at the 2 players that were drafted second with LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Durant, the players that were drafted before them aren't even in the league anymore. So
yeah, I knew. I'm not surprised with that with Aldridge because I remember when I was researching my Knicks story back in the day, that was one of the names that kept one of the recurring things with the Knicks through that drought after the 90s was the people they could have drafted and didn't, and Aldridge was one of them.
Oh.
okay. And last question. So in the 50s, the Minneapolis Lakers beat the St. Louis Hawks for a combined total of 37 points. Jade, what was between each team? What was the point total? Or of those 37, what team?
Yeah, you said the Lakers won?
But I mean like the total. Both of them were below 20. In between 20 and 15.
I'll say it was 20-17.
Shay?
I'll say 16-18.
Well, that's not 37.
Oh wait, I can't do math in my head. Oh, wait.
That's not the last question where it was just like, maybe like, no, this is just basic math. That's not 37.
I can't do math. 16-17, right?
No, you went farther.
I can't do math. Skip me.
All right. The total is actually 19-18. It was a real barn burner right there. It was going neck and neck with it.
Neck and neck.
Oh no, it was from the Detroit Pistons. I read it wrong. So, and a little quote with that. So, at the time, the Lakers were too strong for the Pistons. Coach Murray Mendenhall then devised a strategy. If they had the ball possession for the entire time, Minnesota wouldn't have had a chance to score. This was before the shot clock era. And then
So
the comment
their
by the
plan
Minneapolis.
was to play keep away.
Right, like they were playing keep away.
And then Minnesota's coach at the end of the game for the Minneapolis Lakers, John Kundla, if this is basketball, I don't want to be a part of this game anymore. Play like this will kill professional basketball. And that was one of the beginnings, the ideas of like,
The shot
maybe we
clock.
should put a shot clock. Maybe we
Yeah,
should do that.
that would do it.
That
Okay.
Gross.
Well, going down a little history lane with it, figuring
That's
out
good.
when players were drafted and watching some big name teams drop it like it's hot. It's great to be a fan again with the NBA. So on that note, I think we're going to give a nice wrap up and adios for it tonight. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.